So this video is going to be about the 2018 midterm election, okay? Now the thing with the, one, I want to look at this from a nationalistic standpoint. One of the problems that U.S. nationalists seem to have big time is that they see things in a left, right, center paradigm. I'm going to explain why that's wrong briefly, but how it works is this. Okay, the Democrats picked up a couple seats. But what people need to understand is the seats were picked up by scientists and physicians. Now this is good in a couple ways because the medical establishment in the United States has been doing really poorly, especially with Obamacare and the new way in which medicine is being practiced in the U.S. By picking up seats with scientists and physicians generally speaking do not care for Obamacare. But also with the scientists, one of the things that shows the lack of priorities in the current administration is this Spaceforce, if you will. Now, the reason why this is a lack of priorities, people will go, well, the Spaceforce is above it, it's ahead of its time. Yes, it's very ahead of its time, and it's outside the priorities of the country. Many people don't know this, especially foreigners, but a lot of the water in the United States is undrinkable. In much of the Southwest, there's whole communities where you can't drink any water. People know about Flint, Michigan, because the people are, African American, and they scream the loudest. But the fact of the matter is, there's whole regions in New Mexico, Arizona, and elsewhere where you can't drink the water, and in the U.S. South. Now, there's a politician, Lyndon LaRouche, people probably know who he is, a former economist. Now, he's been in a big supporter of President Trump with LaRouche PAC, but that's not what I want to talk about. One of the things that Lyndon LaRouche supports, besides being anti-imperialist, which I support, is desalination to provide water to the arid regions of the United States, particularly California and, New Mexico, that area, and to also reforest these areas and create agricultural habitats that are more habitable. Now, people will go, well, that doesn't seem like that's technologically reasonable. Well, the fact of the matter is, it is technologically reasonable, and it is done in other countries such as Israel, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, etc. The reason it's not done here is because of the use of environmental laws to basically help the top 1% prosper. You have to understand, a lot of these environmental laws are ways to get rid of competition for already established monopolies, if you will. So what it does is, by establishing these environmental policies, it makes it very hard for startups to get where they need to go. But with I don't want to get too far off track, but the way desalination would work is you would take seawater and turn it into fresh water, and people will go, well, that's expensive, where are we going to get all that money? Well, aside from foreign aid to various countries that serve us in no way whatsoever, what about, I don't know, not funding Israel and using the billions and billions of dollars we use to fund Israel to provide fresh water to the American people? It's the same thing with the socialized medicine when people say, well, where are we going to get money to provide basic health care to the average American at no cost? Well, from the billions of dollars we give out in foreign aid and medicine to countries like Tanzania. Okay? Now, what's funny is Donald Trump has done very little to make good on these things. For example, some moron said the things that Donald Trump accomplished. One of them was cutting aid to Pakistan by $300 million. Well, he increased the aid to frickin' Israel by billions, okay? So what you have to understand is the priorities of this current administration are all kinds of whacked out. Like, is the Space Force a good idea? Yeah, maybe in 40 or 50 years it's a great idea. But right now, maybe we should prioritize fresh drinking water and food security, such as through hydroculture and things of this nature, here on planet Earth and within the borders of the United States. Now, speaking on the Pan-American issue, I'm very happy to see that a socialist of Hispanic lineage won in New York. Okay, and the reason this is important, and William Pierce did a broadcast about this many years ago. One of the reasons that the Zionists fear the Hispanics is that the Hispanics are they're basically an acceptable minority. They kind of look white, and they win if they run in an area where, if they run in an area that's Hispanic, they'll win against their Jewish competitors, and they do. And that's why the Jews fear them. And I'm going to put a link to a video about Dr. Pearson, who is basically trying to keep Hispanics and whites at each other's throats. The other good thing about this young lady is she's a young lady, which means she may be reachable with a message of Pan-Americanism. Okay, and Pan-Americanism would work to, basically it would benefit all of the people of the Americas. And I'm going to get into this in another video, because I want to do a video about this migrant caravan. Well, this migrant caravan would not exist if Pan-Americanism was explored the way it should have been 120 years ago. Also, the problems in South America would not have existed. There would be no communist countries in South America if Pan-Americanism was explored the way it should have been 100 years ago. Okay? But that's all for this video. All I want to say is this. What this shows, this does not show a blue wave or a mega period or red wave. What happened during the midterms, quite frankly, was a return to sanity in the Democratic Party, a more moderate Democratic Party, and on top of that, what's beautiful is you see many scientists and physicians winning office.